Well, the creek is gorgeous, the sun is shining. I've got a whole bunch of blackberries right across the creek that are going to be bear food here as soon as those berries ripen up. And right down here is the crack that I have been working. I've gotten a decent amount of gold out of the overburden from this particular area, and now that we're down into the cracks, the gold is definitely getting better. We're having a lot of fun here. It's just Ray and I on the creek here this morning, but I forgot my normal viewer, and so I had to use a field expedient. What I've got here is the top to a claim jumper French silk pie, and I'm going to use this instead of my regular viewer, which I left in the garage when I was fixing a leak in it. This should work. We'll go ahead and pop it in the water and take a look and see what happens. There we go. Oh, got a little air bubble there. Just kind of tilt it down, get rid of the air bubble, and it's working like a charm. Look at this. You can see under the water absolutely perfectly. See all of the material that I've cleaned out of that little crack, and I have blown some of the material off and uncovered, we'll see just in a moment, a little bit of gold. Alright, now if you'll look closely at about, let's see, 3 o'clock right now, you can see 3 little pieces of gold in a triangular formation right there on the bottom of the bedrock. Problem is, I'm going to have to try and get those out, holding on to the viewer with one hand, my video camera with another, and the snuffer bulb with the third hand. Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe I can work it out to hold on to the viewer and the snuffer bulb at the same time and suck that gold up. Okay, seems to be working. There we go. Alright. Now, this crack has been nicely productive, and I am pulling the material out of the crack, the overburden material, if you want to call it that, and running it through a classifier. It's a classifier for the half bucket size from the California Sluice Box Company. And here we are looking right down at the bottom of that crack. You can see that hole right there. There was a nice amount of gold in that. I am still working my way across the creek because this crack does completely transect the creek, and there appears to be gold in it all the way along, which is a great thing. I spent about 45 minutes sniping here with my pie top, and here is the result of that work, with the exception of my camera strap dangling in the picture. There it is. Look at that beautiful Tuolumne County gold. And that's all with a pie top, a snuffer bulb, and occasionally I was using my clear PVC tubing to suck out the material from the very bottoms of the cracks also. But that's pretty stuff. Alright, as I was taking material out of the upper portions of the crack, I would screen it down to a plus and minus 20, and here is a couple of nice little plus 20 pickers that showed up in one of my pans. Right. Also, I'm seeing a little piece of pyrite down there at the bottom, and I want to show you a little trick for pyrite. If you take the piece of pyrite and run it into a clear area of your pan with your finger, right, then all you have to do is press on it and pull it across the pan, and if it's pyrite, it will leave a streak. Alright, here we go. There's the streak. You can just see the streak there I'm pointing to. Alright, that's a good tip for those of you who have difficulty determining what's pyrite and what's gold. Alright, now it looks like we're back at another pan. Every time I run some of that overburdened material out of the crack, why, I pan it out and we'll see what we got here. Oh, looky looky, hey, it's more gold. Life is good down on the creek today. As you can see from the cleanliness of the crack moving on up from that hole and all the way across, there's still a lot of material for me to pull out of this crack. But what I have done is very, very clean down in there. I did find most of the gold in the very bottoms of the cracks, or a little adjunct crack right at the base of the main crack. That gold just gets down there, sits, and every time you turn around, you can suck a little more out of there, and you get a pan that looks like this. More pretty Tuolumne gold. Alright, back at the house, I did want to show you one more time the items that I did use. Alright, there's the clear PVC tubing, and it's just clear plastic tubing with a chunk of copper pipe stuck in the end of it so I can control it better and work it down into holes and cracks. There's the official Claim Jumper chocolate silk pie top. How apropos that it's a Claim Jumper pie, even though I was working on my prospect there. However, a very cheap alternative and field expedient. Next we have one of my standard tools, which is a serving spoon, and I'll get down and scrape the bedrock with it, pick up material, toss it in the pan. Finally, the only item that you really have to pay any money for is the snuffer tube, and you can pick those up at mining supply shops. Now, my snuffer tube I had forgotten to clean out from the last part of the trip there, so it was still full when I got back to the house. So sure enough, I cleaned it out, and hey, more Tuolumne County gold. That's a good day in anybody's book. Well, this is Herthawk signing off. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.